Hey, welcome to the Keeping It Real Local Show, everybody. I'm here with a special guest. I've got Chett Bland on the line. He's calling in from Colorado Springs, Colorado. He's a sous chef at Charles Court at the Broadmoor Hotel. Chett, it's a pleasure to have you on the show, my man.
It's good to be back. How's life in Texas?
Hey, you know it's still hot down here, brother. How's everything in
Yeah,
Colorado?
cold as hell. Cold as hell, man. It's beautiful, so there's no complaints. You got a little farmhouse behind you.
Hey, man, I got it all right here. I got my jail cell. I got my got my pumpkin. And speaking of pumpkins, what do you got going on for fall dishes, my man? What are you working with over there?
Well, right now we're still getting our same HIV, and we're still getting all of our organic farmers. They're doing their nice fall harvest right now. So beautiful gourds. Like anywhere a week, I eat about 6 to 8 different varietals of squash and pumpkin. Apples, pears, chestnuts, rosemary, nice heady hard herbs, and things like that. So I always been a big fan of fall because I mean, just me, that's when you really can showcase your talents in cooking, especially when it comes to vegetable work because everything's like more low and slow and longer cooking times because the plants are a little bit more heavy in terms of body and composure themselves as opposed to, during the summer we just blanch and shock and glaze things and keep them in knife pans.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this apple dish you've been you were telling me about earlier.
Yeah, right now, we got this dish. It's kind of like a celebration of apple. It's called Textures of Apples, and the dish can range anywhere from 8 to 14 different components daily, depending on how excited we get about the apples that day we get in. It's really simple to do. The dish itself contains a lot of pastry elements. So there's a thyme and semolina roasted apple cake on there, so it's beautiful. It's we slow roast the apples with a lot of sage and butter, raw salt and clove. And from
Yep.
there, it's like you have this beautiful, really moist cake component. Where do you go from there to make your dish better, or is that the dish itself? I
Yep.
wouldn't be very pleased if I had one component though. So we have lots of different things. There's a raw apple that involves cryovacuuming it with carbonated water. We just use a little bit of Pellegrino, 10% lemon juice, and fresh mint leaves and basil. The thing tastes like a mojito. It's amazing. We
Really?
compress the apples in the bags, and we do this. We have to do it daily, obviously. It's a very short shelf life, and it changes the entire cell structure. And apples are really dense when you combust them like that with carbonation. So it pulls in all the flavor. And it's really neat because you look up in the sky and you can see the cell structure of it's completely translucent. So it makes a really rad garnish too. And
Man.
it cuts the fat of the cake though because it's really refreshing. You know, Outside of that, there's a roasted apple and chamomile tea soubise that we're doing for a sauce component on the dish that's just really gnarly. I mean, the flavors are really aromatic and, I don't think people cook with enough tea, so I tend to do quite a bit of it myself.
Is
You
there
know,
a shooter on there too?
that's a neat component because, right, there's a shooter. What we do is we just simply juice the apples. Anyone can do this as a juicer, but, we have an advantage. So we have an EC gun and we use a carbonated charger, so like a seltzer charger, and we're making fresh apple soda. So it kind of drinks like fresh cider. But what we do is we steep the juice with lots of fresh rosemary, so it has more of a herbal flavor notes behind it. But it's really neat. So the component itself, you have a cake element, you have raw, you have roasted, you have your sous vide, so you have a sauce component, and then you have a shooter on top of it. We dehydrate some apple chips for texture and crunch. It's pretty simplistic though if you really get to it.
Man, sounds off the hook.